Welcome back, everybody. This is Eric and Chad here with Iraq Veteran 8888. Today, we've got another Gun Gripe episode for you. And thanks for tuning in, y'all. This one's going to be called Cul-de-sac Commandos. Okay, that's what we've deemed it. Now, we're going to be talking about the couple in St. Louis who protected their home against the protesters and stuff. Now, there's a couple of different sides of the story. We're going to try to approach it as fairly as we can, of course, as we always try to do. I would definitely like to take a moment to thank the folks at Big Daddy Unlimited for supporting Gun Gripes, supporting our channel. They keep us in all the gear that we need to keep the content pumping out to you guys, all the gun videos that we do, all the fun things that we put out. They are instrumental in assisting us with that, and definitely big thanks to those guys for everything they do for us. So let's get into this a little bit. America is a beautiful place in that we can have varying opinions. We don't always have to agree on everything, and it's completely okay for someone to say, hey, I stand with this particular situation, or I stand on this side of the situation, and there's people that are somewhere in the middle. So there's a lot of emotions and different thoughts kind of flaring out over the handling of this situation, and unfortunately, we have people within the 2A community. Now, some of it's just in jest and it's just being funny, right? But some of it is more along the lines of, oh, well, their gun handling was horrible, and they did some visibly unsafe things when they were fending off their property and everything like that. The lady had her finger in the trigger guard, brandishing the pistol around. Just an overall crappy situation that nobody wants to have to be put into that type of position. Okay, so Chad has multiple articles pulled up. We've also got a few bits of law pulled up in terms of the stand your ground and let's just say castle doctrine type. Basically when you can and cannot pull a firearm for defense and use a firearm for defense in terms of the way they approach it from a legal standpoint in Missouri. Okay, this happened in St. Louis.
This has been a heated topic for the past few days on social media.
It has been.
You see folks like Rob Pinkett's coming out of the woodwork talking about it like he always does. You see people like Maj Toure, come out and, when you look at it from like a moderate perspective, yes, they had every right to defend their property, from people that they didn't know if those folks were going to become violent or not because of everything that you've seen publicized on the media and everywhere out there on social media. People film with their cell phones. There's been, folks going in their vehicles driving through some of these protests in areas getting shot at from people in the crowd. Now, are these Black Lives Matter people, or are these Antifa or other instigators or plants from some other deep, dark conspiracy, organization out there that just wants to incite violence in these protests? Who knows? But things are getting crazy in 2020, aren't they?
They are. And unfortunately, and I'll quote Maj here, because Maj and I are friends, and I consider him to be one of the most important people out there in terms of pushing for inner cities and really putting in the work, going out there and training people on their rights. And more importantly, like the idea of those rights existing as a whole, right? That you should protect yourself, protect your communities and everything like that. He's pushed really hard to be a huge proponent for that, for the inner cities communities. And I have a lot of respect for Maj. But Maj says, most effective devil in America, media. Yep. And he's totally right, okay? When you look at the media, they tend to really over-glorify certain situations, and they tend to really focus on the negative aspects of a certain situation. So when you turn on the news, you see every little single bad thing that's happening in relation to every single situation that could possibly be. Whether it is them skewing a story to kind of fit a certain narrative, where they're kind of telling half-truths, right? So we all know that this happens on a regular basis. So put yourself in the mindset of this couple, okay, who lives in obviously an extremely nice neighborhood, in an extremely nice house, in a private neighborhood, in a gated community, okay? And then put yourself in their perspective where they've been watching the news, just like we all have for this whole year, and they see all the crap going on, and all of a sudden there's a crowd of people at your doorstep. It would seem a natural, although maybe, some people may consider irrational, but that's okay, because you don't know what irrational is or isn't because you weren't in their situation. You don't know the feeling that they had in their minds of what they were going through. You've got a crowd of people on your front doorstep that could turn violent, and for all you know, could be there for violence, and could have enacted some form of threat or violence against you in your home. Okay, so look, that could have very well been the most stressful situation that those folks have ever been in their entire lives. All right? You're talking trial lawyers, well-to-do, reasonably wealthy, probably not bad people, probably the kind of people would be fun to hang around, drink a beer with, and just like any other hard-working American, right? I think we can all assume that they're probably just fantastic people, probably not a thing wrong with them in terms of them as human beings. But when we are pushed to situations that we are stressed out, or we feel that our life could be in danger, or our property could be in danger, of course, it's going to be a natural reaction to want to protect said property, because that's what we do. I mean, we protect life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. I mean, we protect our property. Firearms are a tool that are intended to protect life, liberty, property. All of those things totally fall into the same type of situation, right? You are able to protect your property and your bodily being, right? Okay, so we all have to protect ourselves. And, there's definitely a lot of different ways to look at this. Now, I'm all for people protesting, we have the right to assemble and protest peacefully. It says that says that within our Constitution and within our Bill of Rights. When we look at all of the writings and everything, I mean, it says right there in black and white that we have the right to peacefully protest. It says peacefully. It doesn't say you can spray paint houses and burn down businesses. It doesn't say you can tear down statues. It says peacefully assemble. Peaceful assembly. Okay? It's right there, black and white. Okay? So I have no problem with people expressing their, disdain for a certain situation, no matter what that situation may be. We have the right to protest, right to assembly, freedom of speech. No one's saying you can't do that. When you enter private property, it becomes a completely different animal. Where the disconnect seems to be is that some people go, oh, well, who would point a gun at someone over something as trivial as property? Oh, well, why would you kill someone over property? Why would you threaten to kill someone over property? Or why does it matter that they're on your property? No, wrong answer. Because there are certain boundaries that people have to have in society, in life, right? That's just something you don't do. You don't mess with other people's property. You don't try to deprive people of their liberties. You don't try to hurt another individual. Once you cross that boundary, that there's certain boundaries in society that we all can agree, right? Just because I have an opinion that differs from you, am I allowed to enter your home? Am I allowed to just come in your home and threaten you in your living room with violence? Just because I disagree with you? That's not peaceful protesting. That's breaking and entering, right? And it was stated right there on the gate that it's private residence, private drive. It's the equivalent of going down someone's driveway and showing up in front of their house and you're on their property.
Well, it's also the equivalent of breaking down someone's gate to gain access to their property, because that's what these protesters did. And you see some things in the media where they're touting peaceful protesters were harassed coupled with firearms. But when they broke that gate down, when this group of people broke this gate down to gain access to this residence or this residential area, and the mayor of St. Louis lives in this area. That's where they were going from all reports. They were going to go to the mayor's house to demand her resignation. Okay? So when you break into a private residential area, are you peaceful at that point? Or is it warranted to maybe assume that you mean to do more than just peacefully protest in that area? You see these videos and you can hear some of the things that are being said in the crowd, and it doesn't sound very peaceful to me. Okay, I think that, look, I'm not going to say that I agree with Black Lives Matter because they're a Marxist organization at their core. Okay, I'll go ahead and say that right now. What it originally started as, I think it's gone way downhill from there. Now, for Antifa and all these other instigators to get involved with this and cause all the vandalism, burning down buildings, looting, all the violence and everything like that, that's the point where you got to draw the line somewhere. And a couple brandishing firearms against a group of people who they have no idea what their intentions are is one thing, okay? But all the people coming out of the woodwork and saying, oh, well, they should have done this, they should have done that. Well, what would you have done in that situation? Would you have really been thinking about where your muzzle's pointed, all the discipline and things like that come with training? Were they trained? No, they were probably not. They were attorneys that worked out of their home. So did they have training? Probably not. Okay, but they defended their property. Will they be charged with a crime for defending their property and brandishing firearms at that crowd? Most likely not. Will the people in the crowd that are able to be identified, will they be charged with criminal trespass? Likely not. There likely won't be anything that comes out of the situation except a lot of media coverage. But, for our community, for the gun community as a whole, to come down like so heavy on two people using firearms to protect what's theirs and criticizing them, it's a little embarrassing, to be honest with you.
All right, I want to mention something. All right, so earlier when I talked about the Constitution, I'm sorry I failed you there. First Amendment. Okay, I had a brain fart there. So let's quickly read the First Amendment. Okay, so because believe me, this is important, right? We all know the Second Amendment. That's like enshrined, but the First Amendment's important too, right? Remember that grocery list of rights. Okay, First Amendment: Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press, or the right of the people peacefully to assemble. The right of the people peacefully to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. Okay, so basically, yeah, you could have a problem, just be peaceful about it, right? And that's what I was trying to get at. I'm not as eloquent as some of the other people. I am a redneck, so sometimes I don't always remember every little thing. Okay, so there we go. I do want to mention something about his gun handling, all right? And this is not criticism. It's actually sort of a support of the way that he was handling his AR. Now, this is A2, very similar to what he had, and you notice that he had the sling wrapped in kind of tight and rolled around, and he had the rifle at a very low position. And now I can't obviously get in the exact same position because Chad's right here and we don't have as wide of a camera shot, but soldiers that were trained back in the late 70s to mid 80s in that time frame, which I'm assuming the gentleman is an older gentleman, they were trained to carry at a low and ready, very similar to that. And they were trained to fire from the hip. So I don't think that the intention of that guy was to cause any harm to anybody. I don't think his intention was to flag anybody. Mm-hmm. I believe that he was just resorting back to, probably some form of training. All you got to do is watch old 80s movies and you see all the guys hold their gun like at that 90-degree angle from the hip. All right, so there's a few various positions that we can carry a rifle in a much safer manner. One is more, I guess you would consider like kind of a high and ready, all right, like this, where now my muzzle is nowhere near anything unless I want it to be, okay? There's a low and ready. Chad, here, hold this at low and ready. There's the low and ready. Now, he's got the sling wrapped in, just like the gentleman in the video had, mm-hmm. But now he is low and ready, so it's a very different type of carry position. If he wants to engage a threat, he can bring the rifle up to his shoulder and he can engage a threat. And then you go with the safety back on, and you lower the rifle into the low and ready position. This is the way most soldiers, policemen, everybody is trained now to carry a rifle.
Competition shooters.
Is at the low and ready, because you never point your muzzle at something that you don't intend to destroy. I don't think that his intention was to hurt anybody or to flag anybody with the muzzle. I believe that it was just his a very old school method of holding the rifle, which, sort of a commando way. Like, look at old photos from Vietnam, okay? Look at old photos from Vietnam. It tells you everything you need to know. Even SEALs. You see a SEAL walking through the jungle. How's he carrying his gun? Like this.
Ready.
Straight out. Mm-hmm. That's just how they were trained. You see, photos and videos from World War II. How are those guys advancing? Gun straight out at the low. You know what I mean? Low and ready, but not low, but more of a forward position. It's just the way they were trained. Mm-hmm. I'm not making excuses. I'm just trying to come up with some form of a logical reason as to why he was holding a rifle like that, and I think that's a pretty acceptable explanation. Mm-hmm. Anyone can play Monday quarterback and say, oh, the gun handling was this, the gun handling was that. Now, the question is, all right, we can all argue about how that situation was handled. What can we learn from the situation, right? So tactics are taught by the victors and the survivors. Okay, so what can we learn from the situation? What can we learn?
What can we learn?
What can we learn from how the situation was handled?
From how the couple handled the situation?
Yes, what can we learn?
What can we learn? We learned that guns are a good tool for defense of self and property. Okay. No matter how you use them. Right. But there are laws against brandishing firearms and things like that. But like I said, I don't think these people are going to be charged with anything. But we learned that the Second Amendment works.
Of course.
So, I mean, and the media has been putting that all out there too.
We learned
You
that.
know? So, what else have we learned?
Okay. Well, we also learned that perception is a heck of a thing. Okay. Perception is a heck of a thing. You don't know what someone is going through in their mind, all right? You don't know what kind of stress someone is through. You don't know if that's the most stressful situation that those people have ever been in their entire lives. You don't know what their level of training is, but what we do know is that the media is always going to spin it any way they can to try to make gun owners look bad.
Yep.
So always, 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 when we're in these situations, if you do, God forbid, have to brandish or pull or use a firearm in self-defense of your life and property, just know that there's probably a camera rolling and that you're going to be on the news.
Yep.
So as long as you understand that, and look, the last thing that any of us think in the back of our mind is, oh, well, let me worry about how I look when I do this, right? I believe that they were just sort of living in the moment and they were, legitimately frightened and they just wanted their house to not get looted or burned or whatever other perception. Remember, perception is a heck of a thing. We don't know how they perceive the situation. Now, were the people coming up their driveway going to harm them or burn down their house or vandalize their property or the neighboring properties? Who knows? But are you going to give someone that chance? Do you want to? I mean, what is the point that you push back when you're being pushed against the wall? Is it when you're being pushed against the wall of your property? Is it when you're being pushed against the wall of your outer home? Is it when you're inside your home, you're being pushed against the bedroom door? Is it when you're in the closet of the bedroom, being pushed against the back of the closet? Where do you push back? So that perception is different for every person in terms of how they deem that as a threat. Some of us may just have been in the house eating dinner going, well, there's a crowd, Martha. Well, what do we do? Well, if they don't come in the house, don't do nothing.
Yeah.
There's people that might perceive it like that. There's people that may go, well, they're busting down the gate out there. We're going to go head them off at the gate. They didn't do that. So where is that wall? Where is that boundary that we place? You know what I mean? Like everyone has that boundary of where they consider their personal space to be and where you are invading said personal space. And that perception is a thing.
Well, you
don't know how people perceive that.
Yeah, a lot of these states, like Missouri, have castle doctrine, okay? And we've talked about castle doctrine before, all right? Your home is your castle. Your property is your castle. And in Missouri, a person has no duty to retreat from their dwelling, residence, or vehicle from their private property if the person is at any other location where they might have a right to be. So you have no duty to retreat from a threat or a potential threat, whatever the case might be. That group of people that broke into that private area, like I just said, they initiated that contact by breaking that gate down. If that gate was broken and you enter, well, who knows what intention you might have. So their line that they drew in the sand was outside of their front house with firearms, and they were brandishing them, yes, as a show of force. Like, you come near us, we have no idea what you want to do. If a mob starts rushing them, guess what? There's going to be violence. And that's the bottom line.
But that is a choice that those people made.
Absolutely.
To enter that property. Like they didn't go looking for trouble.
That was not a public street. That wasn't. So this couple was not out there on the main thoroughfare, standing on the sidewalk, harassing a crowd of protesters. Okay? That wasn't the case.
Right.
Protesters found their way onto private property. You don't do that. You can't do that. You cannot do that. It is not intelligent, for one thing. It is against the law, for another thing.
Well, from what I understand, I believe that the governor lived in that neighborhood.
The mayor of St. Louis.
Okay, I'm sorry, the mayor.
Yeah. Mayor of St. Louis.
The mayor of St. Louis apparently lived in that neighborhood, and I believe that their intention was to go pay the mayor a visit.
To demand her resignation, but what does that entail? Does it entail breaking into the house, burning it down? Right. We have no idea what's going to go on with these kind of people. So you've got protesters that want to protest, that are protesting something that they feel is legitimate. But then you have, like I said, instigators that join the crowd, and all they want to do is cause trouble. They use it as an attempt or as an opportunity to cause anarchy and just destroy American values and American culture, okay, as a whole. People seem to forget that we are Americans here. It's not white, black, Hispanic. If you are in this country and you are a U.S. citizen, you are an American. Okay? So, Black Lives Matter, all lives matter, yellow lives matter. I mean, who cares? At what point do you draw the line and say, what are we doing this for? What they're doing it for is because it's an election year. I mean, bottom line, that is what I firmly believe. I firmly believe that after the November election is done, all this stuff is going to be in the past. You're not going to see any of this stuff again. You're not going to hear about it because it's not going to be going on, because all the people that want this mass hysteria to happen, coronavirus, the BLM protests, all the anarchy, CHOP, Chaz, all these autonomous zones trying to get started up, all the calls for disbanding the police and everything like that. I mean, what are people going to do when they have trouble and they're not able to defend themselves because they don't own firearms? Who are they going to call? I mean, if people defund the police. I think that, like I said, I think that the whole movement has really lost sight of its original goal. I mean, because it was originally started, after the shooting of Trayvon Martin, which we felt was entirely wrong. There are a lot of things that have gone on wrong with the cops, and not only whites, but blacks and everybody else, okay? The police have done some horrible things to people in this country, but they've also done a lot of good things. But,
no one's refuting that either.
But I feel that the bad apples, just like gun owners, we always say this, just like bad apples in the 2A world, they don't reflect everybody. They do not reflect us. Those gun owners, they don't reflect me and my values or my morals.
And the bad cops don't reflect all the cops that are out there. There's some people out there that are putting in the work, and they're working long hours, and they're staying away from their families for long periods of time, and they're putting themselves at risk for very little pay, and to be ridiculed at every turn, and to know that at any minute they're going to have a camera on them. And if they make one little tiny mistake, they're going to get sued into oblivion or fired or anything like that. I mean, it's a very crappy time to be a cop right now.
Well, yeah, especially with the advent of social media.
I'm sure they're feeling pretty isolated right now.
Everybody is a reporter nowadays. Everybody is a journalist in their own mind. So you have to be careful what you say, what you do, everything, because someone's going to be filming it, and someone's going to put it on social media, and it's going to blow up, and then you're going to start getting death threats in the mail. Right. And all kinds of bullcrap. No one in this country deserves to be treated that way at all. It doesn't matter who the hell you are. You do not deserve to be treated that way. But the things that the media isn't showing you are the cops that are saving like children's lives in these protests and stuff. Like mothers with their kids out there, they start choking on something. Who do they call? They call the police. Is a cop going to tell them, oh no, I'm sorry, I can't help you because you're with this group of people, you're protesting, I can't help you? No. He has a civic duty to help the people, help the community. So what does he do? He saves that little girl. You don't see that on the mainstream media. Yeah, where is that stuff reported?
You're only going to see the negative things that they want to drive a narrative, and not what the actual things that are happening. So,
but I want to say one more thing. But we talked about Breonna Taylor, no-knock warrants, and all that crap. Don't think that we support everything that the police do, but I do support the police in protecting communities. But I don't support bad cops. And no-knock warrants and what happened to Breonna Taylor and what's still going on with that case sucks. And it is completely wrong. It's absolutely wrong. But what is being protested about now, and the where these things are leading to, a couple having to brandish firearms in front of their home because they don't know what the hell is going to happen with a huge mob of people marching down their private street. I mean, that is the division that the media is creating. But see, the thing is, the 2A gives you the right to protect what's yours. You have no idea what somebody's going to do. So you brandish those firearms, you show your force, and it's like, hey, don't cross the line. Bottom line. That's what it's there for. If those people hadn't had firearms there, I mean, who's to say what may have happened? But they did. They did what they thought was in their best interest to protect themselves, their home, their property, their belongings, their business. They worked out of that home. So that's their livelihood in that home. I mean, what, is a group of people just going to go burn it down because they feel like it? Because they don't agree with something that they perceive to be real, which is complete farce? I mean, I'm sorry. You got to look at this whole situation with common sense. I mean, there has to be some moderation and some common sense. But it seems like everything is just flying out the window these days. I mean, I can't get with it. I can't get with it anymore. I'd rather, look, honestly, I would much rather, instead of filming this video right now, I'd much rather be hanging out in my garden with my plants right now. To be completely honest with you.
Yeah.
I mean, like, that's the point I've come to with 2020.
Yeah.
I don't know about you.
Yeah,
but,
I mean, my thing is I want patriotism to come back. I'm
absolutely.
I'm tired of people hating our country and by proxy hating themselves. I mean, the flag, the flag. Okay? A flag is just a symbol. It doesn't mean anything unless we give it meaning. The people are what makes this country, not some flag, not some symbol. When you burn a flag, you're basically burning your culture to the ground because you are the flag. I mean, a flag is a symbol. A country is comprised of people. And, it's important that when are we going to get to the point where it's no longer, oh, I'm an African American. I'm this, I'm that. I'm this person, I'm that person. You ain't African. You're an American. You were born here. Okay?
I mean, I might as well be an Irish American. I mean,
You ain't Irish American.
German American.
You were born
European.
in America. You are an American.
I mean,
you were born in America. God. How long do you have to be born here, and how many times do you have to be born here for people to realize?
Obviously, not enough.
We're Americans. And there's black Americans, there's white Americans, there's all different types of Americans. There's gay Americans, there's straight Americans, there's Muslim Americans, there's Christian Americans, Jewish Americans. America is America. You're either an American or you're not.
We are the melting pot and we are the big experiment.
Yes,
we are the only country on the entire planet that operates like we do.
We need to get back to America. And judging by what I'm wearing, but the thing is, look, it's important, right? Patriotism needs to make a comeback. Like, we need to be patriots again, and look, we need to love America again, right? I mean, this little experiment ain't perfect, okay?
And it ain't gonna last.
We've had some flaws, all right? No person's refuting that there's been some flaws, but those flaws have been worked through, right? These things aren't happening anymore. All these issues and problems that people let live, rent-free between their ears are problems that they just perceive as a problem and not an actual problem, right? This is the greatest dang country on earth. And we have the most freedom, and we have untold amounts of opportunity, all right? We have all kind of millionaires in our society that started from nothing, and now they're millionaires. All these people think that there's no opportunity. There's tons of opportunity. You may not be able to change a position that you're in life at that one given time, but you can change your attitude. And that attitude change could set forth a motion of events in place that will change your position in time. You got to change your attitude. Your heart has to be in the right place. Your work ethic has to be in the right place. No one's going to hand you anything. You have to work for it. No one's going to give you anything. You have to work for it.
Well, so America also used to be a nation of tough people, hard people who had thick skin, who could handle the truth. But now it seems that if the truth is told, then some sensitive person is going to have their feelings hurt, and then they're going to go complain to someone, and then there's going to be hell to pay about it. I mean, you got people demanding statues be taken down of people that helped with the emancipation, like defacing Abraham Lincoln's memorial in Washington, D.C. I mean, the man who signed the Emancipation Proclamation and freed slaves. Slavery was wrong. It was wrong all the way across the world. But every single race in the entire world has been enslaved, one way or another, sometime in history. I mean, that's the truth. That is the truth. But I'd like to think that, this nation is past that, but there are people that hold on to those grievances, and blame like folks like us and others that I didn't own slaves. I have no interest in anything like that. I don't agree with that one bit. But yet
people aren't born hateful either. But that's a learned behavior.
But I'm being blamed for that. And then there's all this talk about privilege and stuff. Well, what about all the other families and communities that are all across the nation, that are different colors that still live in poverty? They don't have the opportunities right there on their doorstep. I mean, there's backcountry people in Kentucky that they make like $18,000 a year. That is what they live off of. They are in poverty. I mean, but nobody ever talks about them. I mean, where's that person's privilege? I could go on and on and on.
Oh, I know.
mean, but it's just people need to harden up and get with the program and learn to accept the hard truth. And people need to learn how to have conversations and have debates. I mean, folks have lost the art of debating. Like it just, you have a talk with somebody, and then all of a sudden, the racist word gets thrown out, and then the conversation's over. There's an emotional reaction, and then you're gone.
Verbal judo.
I mean, so have a conversation. The art of speaking to people. I think that this has caused a lot of people to lose that art. Having their noses in devices all the time. They don't have that social, the social etiquette anymore like people used to have. And there's still hateful people out there today. There's hateful people in every group. Okay, it's not regulated or relegated to one particular individual group of people. There are hateful people all over the place. The sooner people realize that, the better off we're going to be. But we always come back and say it. The Second Amendment is for everyone. It doesn't matter who that couple was, what color their skin was. If they were being threatened by whatever mob, it doesn't matter who the hell the mob was. They have a right to defend it. White, black, yellow, purple, green. Who cares? Yeah. Who cares? When are we going to get over the whole color deal? What's the problem? What's the problem now? The problem is the media likes separating people. They like dividing us. They like putting us in our little corners. The right, the left, the middle. Okay, who are these people? We don't care. We just care about these because this is the big party system. We need your vote. That's all it is about. Guarantee you, after November the 4th, you're not going to see this anymore. Crickets.
Yeah, look, verbal judo is the thing, guys. You've got to sharpen your verbal judo skills. I mean, have conversations with people. Have these discussions. It's important, I remember when I was a kid, the first time that I listened to a comic act from Richard Pryor. And it's like, look, Richard Pryor was known for being, hey, he didn't hide nothing. He told you exactly what he felt, okay? Yep. And I could have easily been like, well, he's talking about me. Well, oh my gosh. No. You know what I did? I laughed.
The funny thing is you can relate to some of it.
And I can relate to it. It's funny. It made you laugh. And it made you kind of understand, well, you know what? Maybe I never looked at it from a position of someone like him. Now I can look at it. And like Dave Chappelle was one that really opened my eyes to that. Like, he scrutinizes everyone. Yep. He makes fun of everybody. Because it's important that we laugh at the things that you got to laugh sometimes and have a little fun and understand that some things can just be taken in jest. You got to have a little thick skin from time to time.
I mean, right? Are people so offended that they can't live their daily lives because of some words that somebody said? What happened to sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me?
Yeah.
I mean, do people not learn that when they're growing up anymore and learn what those words really mean? Words have no meaning.
Yeah, words.
I mean, they cannot harm you.
And a word does not define you. Your actions do. You as a person. Who was it that said, judge a man by the content of his character, not by the color of his skin? Who said that? It's true.
Martin Luther King Jr.
It's true. Okay. So I believe that, there is going to be progress made in this country, and it's going to be slow, and it has been slow.
And it's going to be on grassroots level, too, just like everything else. It will never come from large, huge organizations. It's going to come from small communities branching out and doing the work, just like Maj is doing.
And it's not going to come from politicians.
Hell no.
It's not going to come from the government. All the government, or the different sides, Republican, Democrat, all of those things are relatively irrelevant. Okay. They all want to find a way to grab more power at a result of what's going on. They're thinking about is power broken.
That's the same thing that happened when COVID was starting up.
They don't care about anything that is going to really benefit you. All their concern is, all right, how can I incrementally take away a little bit more? They want the power.
People won't notice it either.
Right.
Like, they take a little tiny bit, piecemeal at a time, and folks just kind of get over and they forget about it. A generation passes, and then they're like, I don't even remember that. Just take away a little bit more. I got more to give. Come on.
I know.
They're like, so Eric was talking about the flag and just the pride that people don't have in this country anymore. Yet they protest about all the oppressions in America when this place has the best opportunity in the world for a person of color or any other person to rise to power. I mean, look at Elon Omar. She was an immigrant into this country, and she is now one of the youngest sitting representatives in this country.
And you want to talk about privilege? How about marrying your brother?
Oh, I don't know if that's true. I don't know about all that. I don't know if that's true or not. That might be fake news. Who knows? But she rose to a position of power in the government, and she is an immigrant. But yet she preaches about all the oppression in this country. Talk about a damn hypocrite. That is, if you look up the definition,
she hates America.
You look at the definition of hypocrite in the dictionary, and you're going to see a photograph of her. You're going to see people like AOC. You're going to see all these politicians. And who are these politicians? Are they on the right or are they on the left? Are they conservatives? I mean, who cares? Who cares what they are? But like most of these politicians who hate America, most of the protesters agree with them. Like, what is the deal with that? Like, you're protesting against the system, but yet these are the people that are in the system that are keeping you where you are. I mean, come on. The right isn't any better. We've talked about that before. Look at gun rights.
Yeah.
I mean, dude.
How long have we been saying that, back when we had a Republican-controlled majority in the House, Senate, presidency, we had the complete ship lane open to push through anything we wanted in terms of pro-gun bills. What happened? Nothing. We've been complaining for years. Why didn't we get to pick from a list of gun rights that we wanted restored, like ordering off the Taco Bell menu? Because they don't give a crap about gun rights.
You said
they
that
just
enough.
say they do.
You said that enough. It needs to be on a T-shirt.
I'm telling you,
dude, man,
and
it's ridiculous. It's the truth. It's ridiculous.
After
Absolutely
November,
ridiculous.
I think I'm not going to speculate as to what I think will happen, come November. But one thing I will say is that I feel that Trump is not only going to win; he's going to win by a landslide, and I think we're going to get a bunch of seats back. I think we're going to have control of the ship again.
Well,
when that happens, we are going to make it our mission. I am not going to stop. I'm going to complain every single day, and I'm going to contact them every single day, and I'm going to demand that gun owners are given our due. We have been left behind. Gun owners have been left behind in this country, so all these people can fight over this bullcrap, but we want what is ours, not something that we're wanting in return or we're wanting something back. We want what's been ours the whole time. We want suppressors off the NFA. We want short barrel rifles and short barrel shotguns off the NFA. We want machine guns off the NFA. We want national carry reciprocity. We want all that 922R bullcrap, import bullcrap out of here. We want 7 and 6 ammo back. We want parts kits from overseas so we can build whatever clone we want. We want to be left the heck alone, and we want to own whatever gun we want, and the heck with you. That you have no right to tell us how to live, okay? And gun owners want what has been ours the whole time, and we want it back. We're not asking for something. We're asking for what's been ours the whole time to be restored and given back. We want what's been taken away returned. And all of these Republicans are ran on, I'm pro-gun, I'm pro-2A, I'm pro-this. You ain't done nothing. You ain't done nothing to support the gun owners of this country. Yep. You want that vote. You want that demographic because you need us. But then when it actually comes down to putting where the rubber meets the road and actually doing something, you just want to have lame duck, bull crap, and go, the Supreme Court says, that's too sensitive of a topic for us to vote on. But we can't hear that case. Bull crap.
I'm not even going to get in the Supreme Court.
The Second Amendment is one of the most important rights that we have, and it's being trampled on, and all these people want to play the tune of worrying about all this trivial crap. And I'm not saying it's not trivial to everybody, because it's important to some people, but they want to really create division within the media, and they want to do it at the cost of people just having good logic. They don't want you to worry about the real issues. They want you to focus on the trivial bullcrap issues. So anyway, I know this video has been long, but I appreciate you guys tuning in. I know there's a lot of varying opinions about this, and I know there's going to be people that disagree with us, that agree. That's fine. Let me know in the comment section below where you think we're wrong or right or whatever, or if you agree or disagree.
The thing is, it's our opinion. It's the way that we feel about it.
Right.
And, everybody has a right to their own opinion. But, the thing is, you've got to base your opinion on facts. And that's the problem that a lot of people have, is they don't look at the facts of the matter. They don't look at the big picture, and they don't really see what's going on. and they just listen to what the media tells them. Like Maj says, most effective devil in America. They control you. If the media, if you listen to everything the media tells you, and that is what you live your life by, and that's what you garner all your opinions from, that's all you think about, that you are being controlled by the media. But don't forget, the media is free in this country. There's freedom of the press. But you go to other countries like North Korea, the government, the state controls the media, so the state ultimately controls the people. And you have people in these groups that are protesting right now, and these anarchists and such, that want that sort of regime here in the United States. They want socialism. They are Marxists. They want that structure in this country. They think it'll make everything all better, and we'll have some giant utopia and singing Kumbaya. It'll never happen. All it takes is just for people to just live their lives, love each other, and not give a damn about someone and the words that they say unless they are an immediate threat to you and yours. What I'm concerned about these days is my family, my little circle. I could give two shits less what's going on in the world, to be honest with you. My little circle. That's what I'm concerned about, my community. And anybody else who needs my help, that is who's going to get it. But as for everybody else, sorry.
Well, I just want people to be happy. That's my simple approach to this thing. I want to live the way that I want to live, and I want you to live the way you want to live, and I want you to make whatever decisions and choices that you want to make, as long as that doesn't hurt anybody. And I just want people to be happy. I don't want people to be upset or mad at me just for some trivial reason that I have nothing to do with and I have no control over. I just want to live my life the way I want to live it, and I want you to be happy too. If you're watching this video and you're gritting your teeth, oh, these guys are dicks. Well, guess what? Just do you.
Live
the way you want. Do you. Take care of your people. Be happy. Work hard. Do what you can, and
everybody has to have a code that they live by. Whether that code is good or bad, that's fine. But if the bad code that you live by infringes on me and my family, then it's going to be met with violence. And you got to understand that everything has consequences, right? If you do something heinous and horrible to someone, then you can't be surprised when they're going to, give it right back. And that goes back to where we started this video: a couple defending their private property. Bottom line, we went full circle. Here we are again. Oh boy.
Guys, the biggest thing too is live life, be happy, hang out with your family. Go to the park, hang out with the dogs, do your thing, have picnics, live your life. Don't let these freaking people upset you and drive you all up into a storm of hurt and hate. Live your life and be happy. That's the biggest way you can get back to the establishment, the biggest way you can get back to all these horrible people in the media spreading all these lies, is to live. They don't want you to live. They want you to obey. They don't want you to think for yourself. They want you to obey. Just obey.
The easiest thing for people to do, the easiest thing to happen is for there to be a mass boycott of all the major news networks out there. And people just stop listening to all the bull crap that gets spread on a daily basis. And it's either got a right spin or it's got a left spin. Someone's going to take some things out of context. They're going to use the little choice pickings to fit it into whichever narrative it is.
I think I'm concerned about the narrative of freedom, about being free, and about you being free. Even if you're watching this video and you disagree, I still want you to be free. Gosh. I don't have some heinous will towards you just because politically we may not agree on every little thing, or, oh, he said something that makes me upset. Well, that doesn't mean I don't want you to be free. I want you to be happy. I want everyone to be happy. But my liberty doesn't stop where your fear begins. So that's... My freedom doesn't end where your fear begins.
Because a lot of times that fear is irrational and it's unwarranted.
Right.
And there's no reason for it.
Yep. Guys, take care of your families. Have a great day. I appreciate you watching. I know this video has been a little long, but this one we've been kind of going back and forth over this one for a couple of days. We thought it would make a good gripe. We've got a ton of videos on the way. Tons of stuff. Lots of gun videos. how-to type stuff, a few of those things thrown in there. We got some 5 guns on the way. We do have more meltdowns en route. Please stay tuned. Lots of cool things coming. Really cool stuff to show you. Definitely want to take a moment to thank all of our Patreon supporters. You guys are amazing. Thank you for standing by us through all of this crap that's been going on. And also, we got some great man cans for sale over on the website. Check them out. They're boxes that we're putting together especially for you. Go check them out. I know you're going to love them. Also, you can get t-shirts over on Ballistic Ink. All the funds we earn off of all the above go right back into supporting the channel, right back into putting out content. So, is there some part of this that we're not seeing? Is there something that we've gotten wrong? Is there something you disagree with? Fire off down in the comment section below. Let us know, and maybe we can revisit this video in a few weeks after some more information has come out, and then maybe get a bit of an idea as to how you guys feel, and let us know if we're wrong. Look, I am a slave to logic. All I care about is right and wrong and the concrete black and white of every situation in terms of the facts. If I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong, and I'll admit it. But I have to look at things in terms of how I see it, and we just called it like we see it, as we always do. Have a great day, guys. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.
See you guys.